Shiloh was a friend of mine. I stayed with him to the level that we became brothers. He became my younger brother. He became a member of my family. We met in Soralo office when he came to Kenya, and then I came with him. He refused to stay in a hotel, so he decided to stay in my house. I had no extra bedroom for him to spend the night, so this young man decided to use one of the couch. This was the couch that he was using as his bed, and that one, the one that you are sitting on. So from that, I started building relationship with him, because I noticed that he's somebody who is very flexible, and he can easily adapt to any situation. So I worked with him, helping him access information from communities that he wanted to do interviews. I was organizing his programs, where to go. I was organizing for his transport to the several destinations. As much as I was hosting him, I was also translating his work, his interviews from my language to English. So I knew him. So on and on, when he goes to the US, he comes back, he stays in my house, both to work, to do his official work, and also to stay with my family. So that is when we build a very strong relationship with this young man called Shiloh.
When the first time he came to Kenya around 2002, when he was doing a program with the School for Field Studies, he used to come every time when he's not on the field and it's not at ACC, he comes here. So we go around, we do a lot of things around, and our relationship continued to grow. So he came back again, and most of the time he was staying with us. He was sleeping with us in our house, just do whatever we do. And when I go out, he always go, and we always talk about conservation, because he was so passionate about conservation and the pastoral way of life. And I share the same similarity, that I'm passionate with conservation, the pastoral way of life, livestock, and the livelihood of the Maasai people. I knew him when I was a young boy. He came when I married. He was here when I have one baby. He was here when I got the second baby. So and life grows. So I always say that we grew up together. I knew him, and we were kind of growing together. And there were so many things we were planning.
After he passed away, a group of us, Johnny and Shannon and Brett and Rachel and me and others, and Paul and John Kamanga and others, wanted to do something that would honor him and to carry on the findings. And so we raised enough money to have a symposium, international symposium, at Oregon State University last April. And we brought everyone together to try to exchange ideas, because that's what Shiloh really wanted to do. And the 4 themes that we focused on for the symposium was called "The Future of Pastoralism in an Era of Rapid Change." And the 4 themes of the conference were global challenges, open space and culture, human-wildlife conflict and coexistence, and collaborative governance.
This trip was the climax of our meeting in our symposium. After the symposium, the team of professors, family members, friends, and other professionals will meet in Kenya to follow on Shiloh's footsteps.
Hello. I'm Johnny. I'm Shiloh's dad. And he always said, since 2003, Dad, when we go to Kenya, I'm going to take you there. I'm going to show you this. You're going to meet so-and-so when we go to Kenya. So today, we are in Kenya. And I'm very happy and sad to be here with the people and the land that he loved.
And because of his love for what he was doing here and what he was learning here, now we bring other people who have interests and knowledge and some ideas, and they also want to learn from you.
You mentioned hope, and I think we all as cattle people are always hoping for the next rain. So we share a lot of the same concerns, issues, land use issues, but also climate issues, and working with people like you, or seeing people like you, I know that I'm not alone in that concern.
Kana yulwa jawari sinjenda ndiba randa ile sorwa we diba da sharaki yoga fi diba binge yoga usi na eraki arake na osiligiajo ere masai ni nabobo senya yaki yo.
We've created a lot of friends and a lot of partnerships that have continued to support, the vision that we have for the center, and we're happy that today we're creating a new partnership.
So a real highlight for me was seeing Maasai pastoralists in a couple of different contexts, both in the Kitengela area, south of Nairobi, and down in the Amboseli area, and then later on in the Masai Mara area. In all three places, different groups of Maasai pastoralists working in really dedicated and strategic ways to reduce human-wildlife conflict and enhance coexistence. And it was really neat to see how much these pastoralists care about these animals, the wildlife that in many ways are a threat to their livelihoods. And so it was just really, encouraging and heartwarming to see the excitement with which some of our Maasai friends there would be pointing out a lion, even though that lion could potentially eat his cow. But he was so committed to wildlife conservation that he could see the bigger picture. And I think that the ranchers that we were with from the American West really struck them too. And ranchers in the American West have a different kind of history with predators, and so it was a really great experience to have the ranchers from the U.S. West comparing notes with the pastoralists from Kenya about how to deal with wildlife and how to reduce conflict and enhance coexistence.
We do have the benefit of working in Maasai land, which is a community and a culture that has lived alongside wildlife for thousands of years. So our first step has been to say, right, rather than actually imposing solutions, let's take what the elders know, let's take that community knowledge, that ecological knowledge, and understand how it is you as the community have been able to live alongside carnivores.
Well, we were really successful in the Blackfoot in our conservation efforts when it pertains to land. In other words, keeping a landscape intact. And so what that did was, we were doing it for our lifestyle. We wanted to maintain that rural way of life, those opportunities to continue to ranch and have the land and the range available to run our cattle on in the summertime, and then keep our communities also intact with those ranches. Yeah. I know. We almost had it protected. We almost had it.
Three parts.
Yeah.
Blade handle.
Yeah.
We hosted a couple humanitarian engineering workshops it's a concept of design. So pretty much the idea is engineering teams come to places that have great shortages and poverty in terms of all the material resources that places like United States and Europe have. And the idea is to figure out how to use their local materials to address major problems they have relating to their food, to their water, to some of the basic necessities of life. And the engineers come in and train the communities in workshops in terms of how to think about problem solving sort of within an engineering framework and a design methodology to come up with prototypes they can test. And there's been many successes in the past to help people improve their lives that way. So I came with a team from Oregon State, and it's sort of an anthropology engineering fusion to see how we can work with the community and to really lay the groundwork for future work.
And one workshop in Magadi and another in Bissell with a group of community members that was organized by our community contacts. We led the group through the design process, so essentially boiling it down to problem-solving strategies, identifying problems, coming up with creative and effective solutions, and testing those solutions to find the best one.
This trip was an opportunity for us to work very directly with social scientists and work to see how they connect research to practice, and particularly to learn about holistic management, to learn about ranching, both in Kenya and in the US. So our role in the trip was to work with Hannah and the team, the social science team, to think about what kinds of engineering problems we might be able to address collaboratively in the future.
I really enjoyed seeing engineering design principles being applicable to the Maasai people, and seeing that a lot of these concepts are really universal and mutually beneficial for everyone involved.
Learning about the places through reading and researching and planning was really overwhelming, and then to actually get there on the ground and be able to meet so many different people in so many different Maasai communities and see the spread of resources that they had available to them over the area that their communities were was really interesting to me, and learning about how they were able to make the best use of what they had on the land that they had with the amount of rain that they had and the wildlife resources that they had was just incredibly interesting, because it was so much more variable than I was expecting it to be across their territory.
So I just see in this group of people that have arisen and come together around sort of the idea of him and things like that, that we can do something really powerful together, because we're motivated by this amazing love for a person, but also a love for the various things that we bring together, and that can become very strong to do something significant.
I'm Kendra.
If we work together, we can just really push something quite significant. So, and that's what I've always tried to do in Africa. I've always thought that I should be the one that should leave Africa, and it's about Africans. And yet there's this special mix that happens when non-Africans and Africans come together, and they really listen to each other, and they really work hard together. And so I'm seeing that special mix right now. It's really quite extraordinary, and so I'm terribly pleased about what's going on here.
Thank you for your beautiful class. Rest in peace, children.
Bagi